evening. Going to call to order the June 3rd, 2024 monthly school board meeting. The first order of business is the roll. Ms. Meeker, would you call the roll?
Yes, with pleasure. Ms. Boucher.
Here.
Ms. Campbell.
Here.
Mr. Cotton.
Here.
Ms. Hastings.
Here.
Ms. Higgins.
Here.
Mr. Richards.
Here.
Ms. Robinson.
Here.
Ms. Walsh.
Here.
And I am here. We have a quorum.
Great. Next item is approval of the agenda. Is there a motion to approve the agenda? Moved by Ms. Higgins. Is there a second? Second. Second by Ms. Campbell. I would like to move that we amend the agenda to make item 2A, the student report. One of our students has a conflict and needs to leave early. Is there a second? Second by Ms. Campbell. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any further discussion or amendments to the agenda? All in favor of the agenda as amended?
Aye.
All opposed? Any abstentions? Motion passes. Sophia and Van, who would like to start?
I'll take the lead on this one.
Okay, Sophia's last meeting with us.
Unfortunately, as seniors, we're super busy. I have a student government dinner in Hooksett tonight, so I have to leave pretty early. But I'll make this short and sweet since I have to head out soon. Seniors had their last week of school, and they end on the 6th. We are ready for our trip, which is June 11th, our prom, June 13th, and of course, our graduation, June 15th. I just want to say thank you all for allowing me to be a part of this board for the last 2 years. It has been an honor and a privilege to serve as a student representative. I wish you all the best, and I hope you all have a great summer.
Thank you, Sophia.
Thank you so much.
Oh, Sophia. Van? You're leaving us.
All right, hi everybody. Everyone at Concord High, we're all looking forward to our final 2-ish weeks of school, and only one for seniors, sadly. I'm sure everyone here is looking forward to summer, especially since it already feels like summer outside with the weather we have. In sports, we had some great showings for the track team, with the boys placing 4th and girls placing 3rd, and our Nick Reynolds broke the state record in the javelin. So most spring sports have already finished up, and fall sign-up meetings are happening this Wednesday. All the juniors just took the state science testing last week. Last week, also, the year 2s for CRTC had their commencement night, where I saw some familiar faces from here, which was a great event that practically filled the bleachers in the gym. And last week, seniors awards happened, and coming up tomorrow, we have underclassmen awards. Thank you.
Nice. Wait, no, you can't head out yet. Just yet. We want to thank you both for all of your service this year. Van, we have a little gift for you. And I have an injury, so I'm going to ask you to and you're younger.
You have those good knees.
Thanks so much.
I want that.
I want those good knees.
And Sophia, we've loved having you on the board. You should take your name
your
tag
name.
with you.
Ceremoniously removing the name.
I told her.
Wow. Really sets it home.
Now what are we going to do when we have another Sophia?
Especially if it's Anderson.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
Happy
Thank you.
birthday.
Drive safely. Good luck, kiddo. Oh, what is the wipes?
Do you need help getting
You're
Such a
gentleman. There we go.
Well played.
Bye. Thank you, Sophia. Thank you. All right. What's that? I'm sure we will get another more great students next year on the board.
Van did tell me that they've already started working on it. So.
Van's the junior. He'll be back. Yeah.
Yeah, he left his name tag. He has to come back.
Moving on to the consent agenda, we have building committee minutes for May 2nd, monthly board meetings for May 6th, instructional committee minutes for May 15th, and city and community relations minutes for May 22nd. Does anyone want to make a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
Moved by Ms. Hastings. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
On page 20 of the instructional committee minutes, I noticed that in the 6th paragraph down, is it schoolology or schoology? Yes.
It depends on who you ask.
It depends on who you're
Yes,
talking
right.
to, so
You
if
had
we
me
wanna
just
just correct that spelling to keep it
you.
consistent,
Yes.
because I've been calling it schoolology personally. And I appreciate the pronunciation put above it.
So yes, we have a typo we can correct. Anything else?
I will make sure that it's correct.
Oh, yeah, there's an extra O in there. That's probably, yeah.
It's the LOL in the middle. You're never gonna say it right anyway.
LOL.
School.
All in favor of approving the minutes?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? On to recognitions and reports. We've already heard our great students. Superintendent.
So I have a few things to just bring you up to speed on, and some folks at the table may help me out. But I wanted to talk a little bit about some summer things that are happening. We've been working with our administrative staff, and will continue throughout the summer for crowd control. That was a recommendation made by the fire department and emergency management, that when you have any kind of event, that you need to have someone who's in charge. In other words, they're not collecting tickets, they're not selling water or whatever. They are there only for monitoring the building, monitoring the crowds, making sure people know where the restrooms are and exits. But that's really their job. It's crowd control. I mean, they're not there to, do police work. That's not the point. But someone who is only focused on that during the event. Matt, can you add anything?
In adding to that, for every 250 people at an event, you need one trained crowd manager. So we use a high school as an example, and we're going to work on the rest of the school administrators to get trained. High school did, and I think Tim has about 9 or 10 administrators. So when they have a dance or they have multi-functions, it's usually that person that starts off an event and says, here's your exits, here's what to do. But then if the need ever arose, that person would help calm the crowd and get people out of the building safely. So it's relatively new for us, but it's good that we're going to spread that out to all of our schools so that we know that any event will be covered properly.
One of the challenges that we face with this is that, let's say an organization uses I think about PTA, they often use it and have events, and if we have to make sure that there's an administrator or someone there who's the designated crowd control. So we're working on that piece of it, because that does happen. When people rent our facilities, there's always somebody that is paid to be there so that they would be considered the crowd control. They're not, if a custodian is on, they're not doing their cleaning during that time. They're there as someone to monitor the crowd. So just so you know that that's, again, a really important thing that we do in the buildings.
Is it just in the school buildings, or does it also apply to things like Everett Arena, when there's a hockey game, or the Memorial Field for
Well, for
football
our
graduations?
activities, the principal is here. There's always an administrator at those events. That's an assignment that they have. Tim takes care of that, and his leadership team has, maybe Memorial Field. If you go to a football game, you'll see them. They're all there. Often, all of them are there, but and many of them are at the ice rink.
So it is wherever we are hosting something.
Right. The second important aspect of training this summer, again, Matt's been really on this, is the CRAZE training. I think many of you have been trained in responding to an adverse event at the school, and we will continue to do that training. Remember, we have a whole new group of new staff coming in. That event happens in August 21st and 22nd. And then we have our also our training for staff in the 26th and 27th of August, 2 more days. So we'll make sure that everybody is getting trained in that, and we do it, regularly, because it's important they know the procedures when there's an event. Not our favorite, but that's what happens. We also are ready to kick off our extended school year. Our middle school and elementary schools have, John tells me, it's a 4x4, right? 4 hours a day for 4 weeks. That'll start on July 1st, and at the end of July, that'll get the 4 weeks in. Let's see, at the, John, where else? The high school?
So the high school also have it, yep. The high school will also have extended school year, and they'll also have credit recovery and their orientation for freshmen. They have those programs going on. So busy summer, a lot of programming happening across the thing. And then we also have an Entering K program that will happen the last Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday of the last 2 weeks of July at our elementary schools, all except for Beaver Meadow, because Beaver Meadow is having some work done on it this summer for a new HVAC system. So they're going to hold off and do some things right before school starts when they're back in the building, because they felt it was important to have kids to get the routine at the building they're going to go to. So.
The other important, I think you all know this, is that we did receive the clean bus rebate. That value is $1,035,000 for 3 buses and the infrastructure that goes along with it. You know, those are the places where those buses will plug in, and the transformer and all of the electrical pieces that go with it. So I know that Jack and Matt are already on it, talking to the company that we will purchase the buses from. And remember, it's a rebate program, and so that means we put the money up front, and then the feds rebate us. So we had to use caution with that. We were sort of amazed at 35 buses in some of the towns. We don't know how that's $8 million up front. So we decided to do a slow approach purposefully. We want to see how they work, how they manage in our community, the travel distance. We think that on a good day with the weather okay, about 160 miles. So that's pretty good. That'll cover all of our routes. So we're all looking forward to that, and it's a new venture for us. And they're also, part of it will be training by the drivers so that they learn any of the particulars, as well as maintenance. That's the other piece that we will be getting service for, is training our maintenance people to work on electric buses.
Mr. Cotton?
Just a question is, does that amount of money cover the full cost of the bus and buses and infrastructure, or?
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
I had a follow-up question to that, was we had approved funding for additional new buses this year. Can we reduce that by 3?
I'm going to pass that right down to
Or how do we reduce that by 3?
When this came up, I said, first question before you ask all first.
Yeah.
What do you think the transportation director said?
He wants more buses.
We can't reduce the number of buses.
I think we need a different answer.
We need to talk to her.
It's, and you know what it is, it's the 10-year schedule, and we're like 14 years worth of buses. So the 3 is only gonna be a little bit. The 12 with the ordering would catch us up, and that's what his argument is. But it'll be your decision when you borrow it.
So we have not yet approved a bond for that yet?
You only approved in your budget the bond payment. You
Okay.
did not approve the bond.
Okay, so we can have it for, when do we expect that will be coming to us?
Probably in the next month.
Okay, so we should, Mr. Cody should prepare to come to those meetings.
Absolutely.
We'll welcome at the finance committee.
Yes, let's
Open
start at
arms.
finance. Great.
Are we good? You're all set with the electric buses?
Yeah, although I had a question on the extended school year that I had gotten from a parent. Incoming 9th graders, is there an extended school year opportunity for them? Is it at the high school? So I know
It depends on what. ESY, Title I, what do you?
I think someone who feels like their child has fallen behind and wants to help them, make sure they're in a better place for the high school.
They should contact their school and talk to their school
Okay.
about that specific case. It
But
depends on.
they're going from the middle school to the high school, so it's which school?
They should contact them, talk to their middle school, the
Middle
current
school.
school they're in
Okay.
about that, and they would communicate with the high school during transition, something like that.
Thank you.
And of course, the high school will continue with their orientation for 9th graders, and there's 4 sessions, and they go for a week each group. So, but it doesn't include reading and math.
I think this was academics, it was the question, so.
I just want to alert you to page 32 in your book, and that is, I put it in because I wanted you, last year we were on a very tight schedule, do you remember that? getting the resolution to the School Board Association. I want to try to avoid that tight schedule, so I put it in your packet on page 32. And I don't expect it tonight, but I would love to have this on the agenda for July. And I know that there's been several items that you all have been very passionate about, and they may be excellent resolutions to share with the New Hampshire School Board Association at their annual meeting, which is on October 19th. You can see that in this flyer that I put in. I need to make sure that I have those proposals by Friday, August 2nd.
So if we
I
could
do not
encourage
wanna-
board members to submit any by June 17th, so that the executive committee could put them on the agenda for the July meeting.
What was that, Friday?
The August meeting will be too late.
Yes.
What day did you say,
Right.
June what?
Monday, June 17th is the executive committee meeting.
Yeah, I really wanted to do it in July, so I could prepare the documents and send them over.
So,
I think that's great.
so then we can discuss at the July
can-
1st
right.
full board meeting.
And at some point, you will get all the resolutions, remember, and you vote on them, because the people that go to the October 19th meeting will have to vote with the rest of the delegation that's there, representing Concord. All right, so,
And do we have our delegates?
we do.
You're looking at me really intently. Yes, I go.
No, I think you are the delegate.
Ta-da! There you go.
And there was a second too, that with you, I'll have to go back and look at
Thank
my
you.
notes to see.
That's
but-
totally okay.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right, all right.
Whoever
If
wants
there
to
is
come along.
conflicts, let us know.
meetings.
Let's link up. It'll be so fun. And
And did
SBA
you
is a
say
good meeting.
you were going,
Yeah,
Karen?
of course, I'd love to.
Oh, that's so cool.
Nerd stuff, yeah.
All right,
Yeah,
awesome.
it's real nerd stuff. You'll love it.
Like
And
a
I'll let
professional.
them know that you two will be attending, representing this Concord.
Thank you.
And just a quick reminder that tomorrow there is an equity advisory meeting over at Runlet Middle School at 3:00. Be the final meeting of the year, and both will have representation from New Hampshire Listens, who will help guide us through the goals and trying to get back on track in terms of what are our next steps. So I'm looking forward to that. And if I could, I know it says middle school project.
No,
Can I
we'll-
jump to that a little bit, or do you want to?
Well, I think we have guests here
Why
that
don't
we
we do
should,
the guests? Okay,
and then we'll do
Then
the
I'm
middle
good.
project.
unless there's a
So,
question.
do you want to introduce our guests?
Kim's
Or
gonna do
Kim's gonna
that.
do it, okay?
Yep.
So one of the most fabulous things about living in Concord or working in Concord is the wonderful donations that come our way, the community relations, and I'm just so pleased to have Michael Herman from, is it Herman? Herman, from the Gibson Bookstore, along with Heather Roy, who also is a big part of Gibson Bookstore, and they're here to present a donation and they'll explain what it is. Now, it doesn't meet the criteria for a vote, but it's more informational about this particular project or really exciting activity that they're going to be working on.
Thank you so much. It's a great pleasure to be here, and it's a privilege and an honor to be able to present this gift from author Dave Pilkey. We're basically just the fiscal agent, and we're doing a lot of the organizing work locally. Dave Pilkey, the author of Captain Underpants and Dogman, has made us part of. And by the way, this is top secret. No, for the kids. The kids can't know. The kids can't know till the books are given out. But Dave Pilkey has offered $20,000 worth of books and credits, essentially, for the Concord School District. We're blanketing all of Concord with this, Concord SAU 8 and also Merrimack Valley. So all the Title I schools in Concord, in Greater Concord, are receiving, all the kids in grades, 2 to 5, Heather? Yes. Are receiving a copy of the new Dogman book called The Scarlet Shedder. So, anyway, I'm going to hand it off to Heather. I just want to say, the Gibsons has been in Concord since 127 years now. So not under current management. But, I've been doing this since 1995, and this is one of the coolest things I've ever been involved with. We're so happy to be doing this. Heather, you want to give some details?
So Dave Pilkey actually had a lot of trouble as a kid with learning disabilities. And so he really wanted to create a program that would teach kids that they can love reading. They can absolutely fall in love with reading if they find the right books, because there is the right book out there, you just have to find it. So each year he works with independent bookstores. He picks 5 across the nation to create reading celebrations. That's a great word, yes. And he has us bring in books that we can give one book to every child, like Michael said, in grades 2 to 5. And he also has us bring in a big costume of Dogman so that we have a nice big happy celebration, getting them to think about where they can find books, how they can find the books they like, and letting them know that there are lots of options out there for them.
Yeah, Dave's been doing this for 3 years now, and some of the other bookstores around the country that have been involved with this have been like Parnassus Books, Ann Patchett's bookstore in Nashville, and Bank Square Books in Mystic, Connecticut. And really, it's an honor roll of great bookstores around the country. We're really happy to be part of this. So for the 5 schools involved, and one of them is not Title I, but in the interest of equity, we, at Kimberly's urging, we went back to Scholastic and said, hey, there's one elementary school that isn't Title I, can we include them in the program? And they said, yes, absolutely. So everybody is going to be included in this. We're giving out over 1,300 books in SAU 8 and about 500 in Merrimack Valley. What else do we need to? Oh, right. Very good note. Thank you so much. So also, Dave, part of Dave's grant is not only to give away his own books, but each of the schools that's involved is going to get a $1,000 credit, courtesy of Dave Pilkey, to be able to buy books for the upcoming school year. So it's just an awesome program. He's been doing this kind of quietly for 20 years, ever since Captain Underpants first came out. And for the last 3 years, though, it's a more formal program that he's using to help celebrate and encourage the love of reading. Anyway, I hope you can tell how happy I am about this. This is just awesome.
Oh my God, this is so cool.
When will they get the books?
Most of the books were delivered today to the schools.
Exciting, yeah.
Top secret. The celebrations in Concord, SAU 8, it's next Monday. Next Monday, yeah. So we have somebody on our staff wearing the Dogman costume, unless somebody here wants to volunteer.
I thought it'd be you, Michael.
Fortunately, I think I'm too tall for it. Yeah, and otherwise I would have, faked a limp or something. But yeah, so June 10th, one of our staffers, and Heather, who is that staffer?
That is Taryn Willette.
And she is?
Also my niece.
That's right. Anyway, so it's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So we can't thank you enough for this, and really appreciate you recognizing Concord. And I've put the digital learning specialists at each school in charge of this event. And so if you see a dog driving from school to school in a real hurry, they're going to get to each of the schools. I'm sorry, not Millbrook, but the Millbrook second graders are going to go up to Broken Ground to receive theirs. So essentially 4 sites. And we're just really thrilled to be working with you and appreciate the work that you do for not only the Concord School District, but for the Concord community.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you. I think
Please thank Dave.
on behalf of the board, please thank Mr. Pilkey for us, and thank you for organizing. We are very lucky to have such a great independent store in Concord that helps the community and helps our schools. I know at Chris McAuliffe, you work with our PTO to get books to kids, and we really appreciate that too.
Thank you so much. We'll be sure to thank Dave Pilkey. We're going to find a way to get a note to him. He's in Japan, so we'll find a way to get some kind of airmail over there.
Thank you.
We appreciate it. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. My kids are gonna freak out, you guys.
Don't tell the secret.
I won't. I promise I won't. And they're gonna come home like, Mom, we got the new dog man. And I'm gonna be like,
Hopefully,
oh my God,
I don't think
that's amazing.
our demographics for the video of this meeting is our
Yeah, they
students.
will.
Anybody watching needs to keep it a secret.
Thank you again so very much.
And thank you for all the
Thank you.
recommendations you made to me over the
Yes.
years.
Yeah, true that.
And one last plug, I'd like to plug you guys for your Books on Maine program that you're doing with bringing authors in to talk. I went to see Eric Larson a week or two ago, and fantastic, so.
Yeah, thank you. Jody Pico, August 15th.
Oh, Jody.
Tickets are going fast.
Yeah, I bet. Thank you all so much.
Thank you.
We do
How do you
have,
follow that?
well, it's not easy, but we also did get another contribution. And if you go to page 31 in your book, in your packet. There was a bequest from Leah Gray Estate.
Seventh grade geography teacher for me.
Miss Gray was a teacher and the department chair at Runlet School. So she had, in her memory, there were funds left, and the church, the South Congregational Church, is really a big supporter of the Concord School Districts. I think we just heard that from the Gibson folks, and they want to support our district lunch program, and in part because of Mrs. Gray's love for teaching and love for the kids, and it's so important that we feed the kids, right? And it's important. So the Faith in Action Ministry shared $3,550, to be used for the upcoming program, food service. So Jack has been in talk with them, and we'll take that money and help defray youngsters' lunch costs. So that's kind of a nice donation. So that is a donation that you have to accept in a motion.
Can I have a motion to accept the donation? Moved by Ms. Higgins. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
Just to say thank you
Yes,
to
thank you.
Ms.
Yeah.
Gray, as well as the Faith in Action Ministry. That's incredibly generous, and we very much appreciate it.
She was not an easy teacher.
They're often the
She
best.
didn't like chatterboxes.
And I will take care of, when people do this, I always send a letter on your behalf to whoever has made donations, or I will do something with Gibson. I'll figure out how we get a note to the author, right? And also to the South Congregational Church. So I will do that on your behalf.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion passes. Anything else from your report, Superintendent?
Not at this point.
Then we can flow into middle school update.
So I guess I am gonna continue. Yep. So I thought tonight, it was really important to kind of brief you on the process, right? Where are we? What's happening, right? Because it's such a big project, and the dates are
Kathleen,
flying
can you
every.
pull the mic a little closer?
Okay. The dates are flying everywhere, right? So we want to make sure that everyone understands that process and what is the next step. So currently, HMFH and Harvey, your construction management company, are preparing for your board meeting on Thursday night. So they're preparing all the documents, all the backup, as it related to the estimations for the project. And they will have all of that presentation ready for you on Thursday. You know that meeting is here at 5:30, and we'll have a presentation and opportunity for you to ask a lot of questions and to just kind of review all the data that they have, okay? But that's the first of many, so I don't want, that's not the end of it. And so on.
And just for a board member, the estimates are of a variety of options on different size gyms, different size auditoriums, different materials, different sustainability. So it's not just like, here is the estimate. It's a little bit of choose your own adventure from there.
Some a la carte,
Yes.
if you will.
Well, you have to do that. You have a number of items that you're gonna wanna be able to do that with, and That's not to say that they're not important. I think we want to be very clear about that. I talk things like the greenhouse. Is that something that we can put on the list, and if we have money at the end, we can do the greenhouse? Is that something that we want to do in a few years or whatever? I think you'll have those. We want you, as well as the building committee, to have those discussions. Then after that, we will have, after that first presentation on June 6th, Thursday, June 6th, I keep repeating these dates, June 11th will be the community Q&A. Oop.
June 10th, the Sustainability Working Group.
Yeah, I didn't want to, yeah, I was going to go do those at the end, because I'm really talking about estimations, and I don't want,
Okay.
so if I will do that, because we have two, we have Program Committee and Sustainability. So June 11th is a Q&A. That's an opportunity for the community. It's going to be held at Millbrook at 6 p.m., okay, in the that gym, in the gym room. They use the little stage there. So we will have opportunity for the community to ask questions and get answers. That was really important, right? That dialogue with you, as well as attending will be the folks from HMFH and Harvey Construction. So there may be some technical questions that they will have better answers for, and so we want them to be able to be there to support you. So that's a Q&A on June 11th at 6 o'clock at Millbrook School. Then we have, because we know that, one night out of the month is tough for families, so we are holding a second Q&A. That one will be on June 18th, and for the community, and that will be held at Concord High School at 6 p.m. And the reason we like that venue is because, one, the room, the space, as well as we can record it live. The one in Millbrook will have to be recorded and then played, but, they do a great job up at the Concord TV. They get it on almost within the next day. So just keep those two dates in mind for the Q&As, and gives the community an opportunity to ask those questions and get some answers. And by the way, if we don't have answers, we'll get them. So anyway, that's kind of the process.
And that would be all aspects of the construction and design and the estimates with regards to auditoriums,
Everything.
ramps, elevators,
Ramps,
any of those.
we have all those prices. Those are all ready to,
gyms.
yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah. And then you'll come back again and convene with your building committee on June 20th, so that you'll have the first night, you'll have 2 nights of feedback from the community, and then be able to sit down again with the building committee on June 20th to provide further review. And that one will be here at the central office at 5:30, okay? You have a board meeting on June 1, we'll go over that, and then July 15th, you have another special meeting, just to have time in case you need more time to look at the numbers. 2 pieces of the process that both the chairs, Liz as well as Brenda, you wanted to afford those program groups an opportunity to come back and hear about some of the things that they got involved in, whether it was the fields, the auditorium, the gymnasium, the way the building was designed and laid out, the ramps. All of those were discussions at your meetings. Liz, your meetings was all the HVAC systems, whether it was geotech, whether it was the solar panels. They want to be able to hear what those numbers look like. So we scheduled 2 meetings for those, and those are in your calendars. I'll have to refer to that. Oh, thanks, John.
I have a question about the community Q&A. Can I jump in?
Yeah, I've got a question too.
Okay. For the community Q&A, are we able to provide folks an opportunity to ask questions virtually before the meeting or in between? Because I know there may be folks who can't attend, or can we go back to questions that have already been asked?
Oh, sure. If they want, they can always use Concord, the Concord email. We check that every day. If there's questions, that's a great point, Jess.
Thanks.
That they can submit a question via that, and then we'll have it
And
ready.
that's info at Concord.
Concord info.
Concord info at SAU8.org.
Concord info. Thank you.
And we'll make sure that it's on the website, so
Awesome.
you'll be able to do that. We get comments and questions via that,
Yeah.
and Bridget checks it every day.
Yeah, she's great with it. Thank you.
Ms. Robinson, you had a question?
I did. Are we close to finding a facilitator for those meetings?
Well, we talked about that, and we decided not to do that, and that our chair would cover that.
Okay,
So
great.
I think it's a matter of directing rather than really getting people to, it's question and answer kind of a layout. So just making sure that everyone gets an opportunity to speak, kind of facilitate that. Let the board be able to look at the board members and say, maybe you have an answer to that question, or perhaps it's one of our consultants.
Okay.
Okay?
I just have a couple clarifying questions, just for people who might be learning about this for the first time. My understanding is that the sessions on June 6th and June 20th are not open to public comment, and that, or are we opening?
No,
that
they're
to-
work sessions.
Okay.
The building committee, yeah, no, those are work sessions.
So I just want to make sure that people understand if they want to voice concerns, that their opportunities are on June 11th.
Well, those are the public Q&A, and they certainly can come then, and then there will be a public hearing before the vote. The final step in this process is the vote, the board voting on the cap for the project. What is the highest cost?
That we're willing to
Right.
shoulder.
And so there will be a public hearing before the board votes on that as well.
Right.
Okay.
That can be built right into your meeting.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think there will be ample opportunity for people to have time to discuss and ask questions. I just want to make sure that people know if they show up on June 6th expecting to have a back and forth, that that's not going to be
Oh,
the
yeah.
case on that particular meeting.
Not on that one, but certainly
Right,
the
so-
Q&As.
Yeah. I
Right,
just wanna
we
make sure
did
people-
send out a middle
great.
school
Good question.
update, and it had the Q&As, right? We sent that out publicly, went everywhere, our newsletter. So we've been trying to do that every 2 weeks, keeping that information out in front of the community, so everybody sees what the meeting dates are and time and place, so.
I do have one more follow-up
Sure.
question. This is more out of curiosity. We may be able to handle this on the 7th when we meet with the city, but a lot of the questions I've been getting lately have been about just sort of like how we're working with the city at this time, particularly because they're going through their budget process right now. Will there be a city representative that will be there with us? Or will we be ready to answer questions about?
I mean, I think it depends on what the question is. And if you have thoughts on what those are, but, we have a city representative on the building committee, but,
So just to add to that, the joint city and school board meeting here is on the 7th at 8 a.m. and we have the middle school infrastructure update as part of that, and I have copies of the agenda here for everybody. So we'll have had a conversation with the city and have a foundational understanding of their points of view, sort of how we're planning on having that conversation together. So I'm expecting that that'll really inform the way that those questions are answered.
and we will also have our architects and our staff who have been meeting regularly with the city as part of this process.
Cool.
Great, those are great questions.
I would ask that, we have the board meeting on the 15th, I would ask that people try and save the 8th potentially, if we need, after we meet with the building committee, if we need further,
That's July.
July.
further board work time.
Are you asking us to keep what date open? The
The
18th? Oh, the 8th. Okay.
And the 17th, but, I think we'll have a better sense of how much time we need after next week.
Yeah.
But,
I am
I want-
away that week.
and I know there's a lot of conflicts, but we'll,
Many.
Many.
it is the time.
Yeah.
So just so I'm clear, July you have the first of the month, which is
Yeah.
your regular school board
Yeah.
meeting, but, there may be some discussion there. Then we have scheduled the 15th.
Yes.
And then the 17th is an alternative date, and you'd like to add the 8th.
Just to hold it for
Okay.
now.
Okay, yep, I just don't want to miss that, because we have to post.
Yeah,
You know.
if we can hold it for a work session if we need it.
Yeah, okay.
When we say alternative date, or is that a continuation date?
I think that's a continuation
Okay.
date.
I'm gonna put it in there as a continuation,
Yeah.
not an alternative date.
Potential.
Yeah, we thought at first maybe the 15th wouldn't work, and we had 17th as a backup, but you're right, it's more of. So, does that kind of cover it? We have two committees now, don't forget, sustainability is on the 10th, and that working group will be here at central office. And then we also have the program working committee, which will be at Concord High School in the Media Center on the 12th. Are you good with that, Brenda?
Yes.
Liz, you
Yes.
good? Okay. I mean, it's a lot, I know it's a lot, but that's what happens when you come to the end
To
of,
this
you know, a
point.
big piece of your work, and, you know, lots of decisions are made, and you wanna make sure everyone has had a chance, and gets the results, right, of the work. I think, thank you, Janet. I think that's it for me.
All right, thank you. Next up is the finance report from Mr. Dunn.
All right.
So this will be the last month you'll see for 2026. When you see in July, will be.
Oh, you gotta use your microphone, Jack, sorry.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So, we're in the last, let's see, there's a payroll this week and then one on the 21st, and then the last week of June is what's called the balloon checks, and that's where we pay out the last 5 checks for all the people that are 26 pays. So, it's probably gonna be a little over $8 million in salary, just for, one group. But when you total up right now, there's an encumbrance, if you see in that encumbrance column, there's $10.4 million in encumbered wages that are expected to be paid out by June 30th. See that on page 34, page 2 of 9, you see that column, it says encumbrances, 10.447 million. That is the amount that's encumbered from what is owed to folks. Down the benefits, most of that is pretty much done. There'll be another dental bill. Health insurance is done right now. And probably any course reimbursements, usually after June 1st, they go into 2025. When we get into professional services, you can see that is a negative 911. When you get into 621 is a lot of that has to do with tutoring and the high-set testing. On the 632300 professional services for pupils, that is behavioral technician and Bill White. And for the 633,000, you have a combination of repairs and maintenance to the facilities, which right now is 161,000 over. And we're about 7,000 over for the audit because they dinged another grant program. They wanted 2 instead of 1 this year, so we had to pay extra for that. And that usually happens when you start to get up in the grants, the amounts. And then, they can't hear? Oh, on TV? Oh, all right.
Just cozy right up to it.
Well, I don't want to cozy up too much now.
Talk loud.
Talk loud, that's right. And then if I move on to the, let's see, that was the 6.4s. If I go into 6.5s, that's page,
36?
sorry, yeah, page 36, 37. The biggest reason that is the out-of-district transportation. And usually 700,000-800,000 would sustain us, and now you're $1.1 million over that. And as I said, we're gonna have to try to figure out another solution because I don't see that changing.
Yeah.
Don't. If I keep going into the 6,000s, which is supplies, energy costs will probably be about 200 over for electric, but 40,000 under for natural gas.
Jack, is that just cost of per unit, or is it a use?
It's both.
Okay.
And we'll show you what those kilowatts are. And obviously, I think you're aware, we're working with the city to, on that new solar project and all. So that's contractual right now, stuff being worked on, but that'll be coming to you in the future, okay? Hopefully, there'll be something to mitigate that. And I think that's it on the expense side. And on the revenue side, I think I mentioned last month that the building rentals, which is down in the page, I think page 39, 7 of 9, I believe it is. You know, that one didn't hit because it was a political year, and usually we do pretty good, about 250.
Yeah.
I think we don't make any money off of social media, so when they campaign that way, that doesn't help.
Yep.
Okay? But other than that, there's some of the, obviously, the state education tax and the local tax will still have at least another payment for that, because there's a schedule that comes out, and we get that money every couple weeks. And we work with the city to organize that, that appropriation, because they have times where where their money is slow and they need relief, and there's time where our money goes up and our money is slow. So there's a coordinated schedule that happens with that. Other than that, do you have any questions?
Lots of red.
Food service,
Yes.
where are we for that for the year?
Student debt is 88,000 in the hole.
So, one of the things I think we talked about last year is that we closed, and I just got my notice, pay your bill, the accounts are closing, we closed them pretty quickly. Can we keep them open longer so that gives people more chance to pay their balance?
I can ask. I think what we can do is we have to close it down, because you have to close the system down to process the year end. But then we can transfer those balances and open it for next year.
Okay.
And carry those balances forward. Okay?
Okay.
So I'll give you something this month, but yeah, we're gonna be going on a collection, sending letters, but it's.
And then I think my next question is, what is our process for figuring out an alternative approach on transportation? Can we ask that you bring a few proposals to the Finance Committee in August so that we can start figuring out whether we should be hiring more staff or
Buying some vans.
using the money we're saving on the buses to buy more vans?
Yeah.
Yeah, if you want to chime in, feel free, but yeah, we have to start moving to a van model.
Yes.
Have that as another.
I mean, we
in the
can't
arsenal.
beat $2 million over this. It's just too much.
So not unique to Concord.
Yes,
I'll
I
start
know.
there.
That's
As
true.
we all know, we see the papers and what's going on in a lot of districts. This is it. But Jack and I have been coming up with some solutions. I think you just alluded to it. I think vans that we own, that we work towards hiring a different fleet of doing this in a different way than we have. There's still a lot of requirements. I mean, you're transporting children. We want safe people. We want to meet all the regulations and codes and all the things that happen, and that still comes with a cost. So we have to do the cost benefit of that. Jack and I, we've already reached out to a few people that know the business, and we've been starting to talk to them and trying to figure this part out, because maybe there's something we can do even beyond, more regionally, and be able to bring some income in, as well as use our people for doing that. So we're talking about it. Jack, would you add anything else?
Well, and we're probably gonna need a place to sit this thing, because we probably can't put it up where we are now with the existing buses. There's just no room between the city and the school district unless we put some significant improvements up to there, because there's just no parking. I mean, all the buses max that out. There's 26 big buses and 12 small buses, and then you have all the staff parking that's on the outside of that caged-in area. And then on the other side, you have all the city fleet that comes out of there. So I think I did mention to you about a potential opportunity, so that'd be near there, but we'll be coming back to you with something.
So can we expect a proposal for the August finance meeting potentially of how
sure.
we can?
Yep. if not sooner.
Sooner would be,
Not sooner
sooner would
for
be
you?
great. I was trying to be
Yes.
nice. It is summer.
I know.
But sooner would be better.
I'm thinking about that July with the school, so. that's why.
But maybe preliminary in July, we're getting closer to have something a little more, it's hard, 'cause people are still in the mix of the school right now. We
Yep.
have to kind of get beyond that, and the people who we need to talk to, we have to free up to be able to
Yep.
talk to. So I think that maybe July, we can have at least a little more, something on paper to show kind of our thoughts. We're just
Okay.
not there yet,
Great.
I think, right now.
Thank you. Ms. Hastings?
On the student services portion, do we not have a contract with the Bill White people?
We do, but then you have kids that move in, or the IEP changes.
Yeah, and some of that too, in that line item, it's beyond Bill White. It's White Birch, it's our contract services for deaf and blind. It goes beyond that. It's also, this year, remember, we had a lot of openings for our educational assistants. And in mid-year, we decided to move forward and do some contracted services to fill some of that. So that balance of that will come through some of our personnel lines that we didn't hire for. So there's going to be a balance
So
in
there
some
will
of
be a
that.
balance that
If you go
we
Some
can
of
smooth
that.
that out a bit?
Page
Yeah.
1 of 9, you're gonna
Yeah.
see in the, at assistant line, there's 498,000 in there. So that'll help mitigate it,
So that
but
mitigates a lot of that.
when it's in the IEP, we gotta do it.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's the balance of this year. We ran into still having, we still have openings. We didn't fill for the year, and some of that we had to backfill with related service providers to fill in at the mid-year point.
And Jack, do you feel confident that we can cover these extra between the trust funds and?
Yeah, remember, your goal was to hit 2.8 million, because that's what we need to carry forward to FY '25.
Okay.
So,
And we think we're still on track with that? Without taking additional money from trust funds, other than
not
what we
necessarily
planned?
taking additional, what I may do, remember, we undid all those transfers
Right.
in,
Yep.
but we had transfers that we were putting out, we might have to reduce what we put away, but you'll see all that.
Okay.
Maybe at the latest at the August meeting, depending on where July sits.
Other questions?
Can I make a comment, just to add maybe some good news, but we did get all of our entitlements, Title I, II, III, and IV, along with adult diploma, which is also a grant. And our grants thus far this year run $1.929 million, so almost $2 million in our entitlements, so. And that doesn't impact any grants that we go after competitively, so. I think it wasn't a lot of increases, the increases from the feds was minimal this year, but at least we know where we stand with that, and we're ready to move forward.
Yeah.
Other questions? Great, thank you. We will now open the public comment period. We have 30 minutes for public comment on any topic related to the school district. If you'd like to comment, please come up, sign in, and then introduce yourself.
My name's Rebecca Warner-Rossini. I'm in Ward 5, and I have an 8th grader at Runlet. A candidate who has been chosen for principal of one of our schools did not mention that he was involved in a lawsuit at the time he was applying for the position. He was not asked whether he was involved in any lawsuits, but he also did not mention it. Applying to the Concord School District, he would be aware that trust and transparency are crucially important in our school district, especially around lawsuits, at least as much as is possible. And he certainly would have had the opportunity to be transparent with the interview committee, saying that he was involved in a civil lawsuit, even if he knew at the time that he could not say that it would be resolved by the parties. He was quoted as saying that he works hard to build relationships in the communities he serves. This is very hard to believe because he has started in an inauspicious way, with, at the very least, terrible optics by being not transparent about the lawsuit in the interview process. Even if there is a sterling resume, something appears very wrong here. And it seems like it's one more in a string of what looks terrible to the public and employees, and we don't know if it's something worse. Thank you.
Thank you. Would anyone else like to testify? I'm sorry, did you sign in on the sheet?
I did.
Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. Before I start my comments, I just wanted to say to Superintendent, my husband and I and many other people have been asking for these community dialogue meetings for a very long while, so we're happy to see that those are on the calendar. And I'm just wondering, is it possible with this time of year being so busy to put a reminder on Parent Square a couple of days before? Because I know people intend to go and then things get busy and they forget. So I think that would be really helpful, especially for the parents, because I hope there'll be a good turnout of parents there.
Thank you.
My name's Claire Michaelvitz, which most of you probably know. I live in Ward 10 next to Broken Ground School. And first of all, I'd like to say that I had the privilege and pleasure of attending the 50th anniversary celebration over at Broken Ground School the other evening. And it was a wonderful opportunity to see all the positive things that happened there. In the afternoon, the children and teachers did a wonderful job outside. They had a parade, they had themes for each class and costumes, and the enthusiasm was really wonderful. In the evening, there was such a great turnout of current and past students and families. A lot of teachers returned, and it was just very, very nice to have such an upbeat evening. I know a lot of people were involved in the planning. I saw several of you there, so my thanks to everyone who was involved in planning that event. Broken Ground School is a really amazing place. Some of you new members may not know, we have 3 granddaughters who all went through Broken Ground School. They're now in graduate school and college. And those of us who are educators, parents, and probably most of the general public realizes that the early years of school are so important for establishing a good basis for learning in the later years. And that really does happen at Broken Ground. The social climate there is also warm, welcoming, supportive, and respectful. Next year, our grandson, who's at Millbrook, will be in 3rd grade, and we're hoping that his experience will be just as positive as it was for his sisters. I've been volunteering at Broken Ground for approximately 13 years, had a short break during COVID when I wasn't there, but it's enabled me to see the fine leadership of Susan Losey and also the exceptionally talented and dedicated teachers over there. I know that Susan is retiring, and I just wanted to publicly thank her and wish her the very best. Also, for the past several years, I've spent most every afternoon of the school year in Ellen Kenny's ELL class, and that has been another amazing experience. Ellen is truly an example of a superb teacher. She goes way above and beyond, not just to support her students, but their families as well. I wish she could be here tonight. She's very busy planning the family night, which will take place on Wednesday, but I'd also like to publicly thank her for everything she's done, and I've learned so much from Ellen as well as from all of the children. Someone who couldn't be here this evening, who's affiliated with middle school, the basis of staff, and I believe having a student there, just wanted me to share a few things with you, basically focusing on the benefits of the middle school being close to the high school. And these are some recent examples of events that took place. I don't have a lot of details, so bear with me if everything is not exactly correct. But the 6th grade, I believe, recently walked over to the Capitol Center, and I believe the Red River Theater as well. The 7th grade all walked over to the State House. The 8th grade, by cluster, walked over to Concord High School for transition planning. And all multi-language learning students, which I understand it's not ELL anymore, it's MLL. They actually walked over on 2 separate days to have an orientation for the language programming at the high school. So these are just a few examples of how keeping the middle school in its current location can foster many learning experiences within our city, as well as at Concord High School. Also, walking is good, would save some bus transportation money as well. And I just think it would be too bad if it's an opportunity to extend learning, it'd be too bad to remove that from children who could easily benefit from having these things close by. Also, as you know, we've raised a lot of different issues.
Over your time, so if you can wrap it up.
We've raised a lot of different issues over the past several months, but I just wanted to say the bottom line for everything is my concern for kids. So I thank you for all that you do.
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you.
so much. Is there anyone else who would like to testify? Anyone else? Seeing none, I will adjourn the public hearing. Communications and Policy Committee, Ms. Meeker.
Yes. To kick us off, I move that we accept the Communication and Policy Committee meeting minutes from May 13th, 2024.
Is there a second?
I'll second. Who did?
Moved by Ms. Meeker, seconded by Ms. Campbell. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion passes.
Thank you. If you turn to page 44 of your packets, the Communication and Policy Committee is bringing to you tonight for first reading Policy 430. It is regarding restraint and seclusion practices in the district. The original current policy is on pages 44 through 49. And if you thought that was lengthy, keep going. Because starting at page 50, you now have the modified policy in draft form. What's in the packet does not include in strike type and red text what the changes are. So I asked that that be included in our packet as well tonight.
That's very helpful.
You will see among some pretty extensive formatting changes, a lot of addition of language. This is to reflect changes and updates in the statute, in federal law, in best practices, and recommendations from the New Hampshire School Board Association. This is the result of many weeks of discussions and work on this policy. It has been vetted by several members of our district, most importantly Kathleen and John Fabrizio, and so they have given us their expert opinions on using restraint and seclusion in instances where kids are dysregulated and need a little extra help. The first part of the policy is going to be our definitions section, which just makes very clear who we're discussing when we're talking about restraint and seclusion. Then there is a pretty, it's sort of chunked into 2 parts, the restraint part and then seclusion part. And then the end of the policy goes into how we report out that information and what people's process is for reviewing any incidents that may happen in our district. I don't expect everybody to have questions tonight. but I recommend you read it, and if you have questions, direct them that way to the experts. But if you have any questions about the technical pieces of the policy and what the committee did, please reach out to me. And then any updates we want to make, we can bring back for second reading next month. Does anybody have any questions? I should defer to the chair if
Yes,
anybody has
is there any
questions.
discussion? I will say, having sat in on a couple of these meetings, any language that you think is awkward and and inappropriate, that's either state or federal statute.
We definitely made attempts at improving grammar, and the RSA prevented us from doing that. That was a bummer.
But this is a lot of work. It's also a very important policy, so I hope we will hear from folks about it if they have any concerns,
The only
either here or the public.
The only comment I have is that we did vet this with the principals too, because remember, they're the ones that have to implement this, and so it was important that John and I and Kim reviewed this with them at principals' meetings.
Yeah,
And they gave us feedback.
Yeah, and Barb was also a great resource in terms of boots on the ground. You know, experiencing these things in the real world is very different than what's on paper, and so having her perspective was super important. So,
Nice.
thanks for that.
Yeah, thank you for the incredible amount of work that I know goes into these things. So thank you to the team.
And thank you very much for the red line version.
Yeah, that's so helpful.
Much easier.
Yes.
I do think one.
I was just gonna say that what I do like about the process of this was having, you look at a document, you change it, and then the next week you get the changed document, you forget what you changed.
Yeah.
And in this type of policy, where the shirt is blue, isn't as blue as that might seem when you're talking about restraint. And what's restraint and what isn't, and what, you know, we have instances all the time that we have to really filter through. So having a policy that's clear, even if it's not well worded, isn't the easiest thing to come around. It's a lot, but it's important because it keeps kids and teachers safe, so that the expectation is consistent. It's a lot of work.
Yeah.
I think one of the things the committee added that I greatly appreciate is an annual report to the school board on uses of restraint and seclusion. These numbers get published publicly, and they can be a little misleading. They include a teacher grabbing a kid to keep them from going into traffic at Christa McAuliffe, which is right on the road, things like that. So I think it's important that we have a public discussion and understanding every year of what's included and what underlies those numbers as well.
That's great. Yeah. Thank you.
So, all right. Anything else? Any questions? All right.
Do we need to move to pass it?
No.
Okay. And I did just have one more thing I wanted to mention. Is that okay?
Yep.
So I'm sure you all read the minutes at length. But you'll see in the minutes that we did have a quick conversation in policy committee to provide some clarification on if individual board members have policies they would like to review. You know, we all have interests when it comes to policy, and I thought it would be a good idea for the committee to really set down on paper what that process might be. If you are an individual member not on the policy committee, how you would bring that request to the committee or to the full board for a vote to ask the committee to do so. So if you didn't read the minutes, you can check that out in the minutes, and if you have any questions, you can let us know.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Great work.
All right. Yes, Mr. Fabrizio.
Just one more thing about the restraint and seclusion before we move on. It also comes with, from the DOE, which is new, is a set of forms that you don't see as part of this, but we have, those are more internal process things that we have, but there'll be a consistent set of forms too that are in our reporting system that will happen too, that is based on this new revision of the law too. So it's going to be happening too.
It wouldn't be a policy without paperwork.
My worry is that they'll change it.
Yeah.
And, you know, the legislators take these policies and they change that.
Change
No
them
sooner
all
do
the
you get it done and it comes back. But we'll see.
All right. Personnel.
Go ahead. Yeah, I'll do that. You want me to do that one? Okay. So we have an administrator to bring forward tonight, and I'm recommending for the position of the assistant principal at Abbott Downing School, Dr. Jamie Vos. Jamie has, you can see her background. She went through the process of interviews with a committee made up of teachers and administrators, several rounds. As you know, we went through a set of rounds. John was facilitating that, and we didn't find the right candidate. We reposted it and went back out again. And we were fortunate that Dr. Vos applied for the position. She has an incredible background in special education, and we really believe that that's the focus of that position. It really is. Given the work that I see in all the buildings, I think John would attest to that too. That's really where the work does. So to have somebody with her caliber, we're very fortunate to have her on board at Abbott Downing. So I'm recommending her to you.
Thank you. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Moved by Ms. Robinson. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Richards. Is there discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion passes. CEA nominations. Ms. Guerin, is that you?
Yep.
So we're bringing forward 2 new teachers for this upcoming school year. We have an 8th grade math teacher at Runlet and a physical education teacher at Beaver Meadow School. Is there a motion to approve John Sargent to serve as a Runlet Middle School grade A math 8 math teacher and Patrick McDonough to be the Beaver Meadow physical education teacher?
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Cotton. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Robinson. Is there discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion passes. Ms. Guerin, teacher nominations. Page 62 and 63, we have some existing teachers who will be adding to their current positions or moving from their current position into a different position. So we have a life studies teacher, a math teacher at, will be moving from Runlet to Concord High School. We have a special education teacher who will be moving from Runlet to Concord High School. We'll be adding to a existing world language teacher, and a science teacher who is going to be switching over to a technology and engineering teacher position, and a returning one-year-only teacher will be returning for a second one-year-only teaching position for a leave of absence that you approved last board meeting.
All right.
Is there a motion to approve the teacher nominations?
So moved.
Moved by Ms. Higgins. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Hastings. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion passes.
Can I just make a comment? Sometimes you see people moving and you say, why are they doing that? Why would they leave Runlet and why would they go to the high school? And, you know, we really encourage people to try new things. And, you know, if they've been in a position for a while and they want to teach, I think of Brian, he was teaching science, he wants to do the STEM program. And we had our digital learning specialist who was at Runlet wanted to have an opportunity to work at the high school. So, you know, we really do encourage that, and I think it gives a broader experience for our teachers. So don't be dismayed, like, are they unhappy? It wasn't anything like that. It was just giving them opportunities within the system to try new things. And I think that's pretty awesome on their part.
Before we move to fall coaches, there was an additional teacher position that got sent out to the board earlier today.
Yes.
Are you going to bring that forward?
Yes. We actually brought a handout. It was, you know, we're doing less, like today I had an interview of a candidate. I don't have it tonight because I just didn't get all the paperwork together for you tonight, but we did have this one as we finalize these appointments. And I don't want to lose them.
Yes.
Too good to be true.
Appropriate. Oops. Sorry. Michelle?
No, that was.
We
You got it?
usually do for the summer, yes.
Yep.
They all
Did
got it.
anybody
Yeah,
not
okay.
get one?
No.
Oh,
But I can
Jess.
share with Sarah.
Yeah, we can, oh, I'm sorry, I just was not
Just
paying
joking.
attention,
I have
that's
it.
all.
It's okay, I just want more time with you.
So this candidate for the world language teacher at Runlet Middle School did interview after the board packet was completed, so we're bringing this forward to you for the world language position, the new position at Runlet Middle School. I mean, it's hard not to hire a French teacher named Mrs. French.
It's pretty great.
Poor woman.
She felt pressured.
Yeah, I interviewed her. She was awesome. It was a great interview, yeah.
Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Moved by Ms. Robinson. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Cotton. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion passes. Fall coaches. Okay, we have 3 coaches that are coming into their, have been coaching with us, but they're switching into different positions for the upcoming school year. So JV football and splitting the head spirit coach position. So those are new. And then the second page is all the existing returning to their coaching positions. Is there a motion to approve fall coaches?
So moved.
Moved by Ms. Campbell. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Robinson. Any discussion?
I just have a question.
I made the second, she made the motion.
Yes.
Yep.
About the group, is how, what does it mean between group 4 and group 6?
That is in the collective bargaining agreement on how they're positioned. They're placed in, there's a whole formula that goes in, but it's defined in the collective bargaining agreement for the category of the sport.
I'm going to tell you my concern. It just seems to me that these are all on the same step, and it seems like the female coaches are not getting the same pay as the male coaches.
Or it's the female sports aren't getting
the same.
aren't ranked as high as the male sports.
Right.
There's a 20-year female coach in it, isn't
Yes.
I'm all shut right now. All right, Brenda.
So I just want to put that out there. That's something we need to keep an eye on.
I know that we are up to renegotiate our contract with the teachers next year, right?
Year after.
Year after.
We'll start that.
No, thank you. But I think, maybe during that time, we should start looking at, how equitable we are and how we compare to other districts in terms of what we're investing in sports for male and female athletes. And including investing in their coaching. And I know some sports require more coaches, but yes, well.
Hear, hear.
But
But you have
Agreed.
a freshman assistant
but boys
coach
soccer
Excellent
versus girls
discussion
soccer
in the equities.
Right.
really should be no difference.
Yes.
At all.
and a freshman assistant coach makes the same as a cross-country head coach.
And
Okay.
cross-country is another sport that you really can't say.
So yes.
How do you do them when your season goes through?
Well,
I
actually,
just want to
soccer,
alert you
the
that there is a
girls
formula.
and
There is a
boys
formula
soccer
that
is-
you have to
Yeah.
use.
But
We
we
How
want to
many
make sure
weeks,
that.
how many
right.
days,
Yeah.
all the hours.
We would like to see the formula, I believe is what everybody
I think it was what everybody's
We will
saying.
get that formula to you.
Thank you.
Because, people design formulas.
That's true.
Negotiation teams design formulas.
Precisely why we would
Yes.
like to see it, so.
Okay.
Thank you.
Will do.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So we need to move?
Yes.
It's
I think we
already-
moved
it's already
it.
moved.
We haven't voted on it. Is there any further discussion?
No.
Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion passes. Okay. Ratification of the contract for our great food service workers.
So yeah, we wanted this in your board packet last month and it didn't make it in time, so. But this is the proposed 3-year agreement for the food service staff. We adjusted the scale in year 1, and then 3.5% and 3.25% increases in year 2 and 3. Based on current staff and running them out, that would be the estimated impact of the food service fund. And again, this is a fund that needs to be self-sufficient. When it's not, you're supporting it by the general fund, just so you know. And one of the things that it cannot do is obviously that cannot be paid for by that is the food service debt, the student debt and the meals. But some of the things that were added, we added a weather makeup day earnings, which is similar to what we have in transportation. We added a paid day for Veterans Day as a paid holiday. They get a personal emergency day. 2 sweatshirts added to their uniform options, and then there's appeal language for separation if somebody does not fulfill their contract and leaves early. And then we've also added the orange plan as an option. Pretty much we have that in all but 2 agreements now, the orange plan, which is the health savings account option. And then we also added language as it relates to the ACA declination payment requirement. There are certain language as part of the Affordable Care Act that we plugged in there as far as when you do pay a declination payment. So went well, great group, tough job.
Tough
They
job.
keep it going.
They do.
So feeding those little darlings. All right.
Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Richards. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Boucher.
May I ask a question?
Mr. Richards.
Just a minor issue, but 2 sweatshirts, we are making this work environment, warm enough for these folks that they don't have to ask for a sweatshirt. I'm gathering that's a personal preference thing, as opposed to the fact that we put them in cold places.
You walked into a walk-in freezer?
Well, I was gonna say, how often do they walk in? If they're walking into a walk-in freezer, then that's absolutely fine. And I think we should probably give them 3 sweatshirts, but, yeah.
And then once he gets his new HVAC next year, we'll be buying parkas. Because it'll be so cold. Yeah.
No, I think we need to operate them a little more efficiently.
And a lot of that came out of COVID. We purchased sweatshirts with COVID through ESSER funds. And now, obviously that has fed into there because some are more comfortable with that than others.
I have no
in
problem
those
with it,
deliveries.
thank
But,
you. I just
yeah.
want to make sure that their work environment is as conducive to productivity as we can possibly make it. They work very hard.
I think when we replaced the oven a couple of years ago, that wasn't helpful.
We got a
because
more
the other one was
efficient
so
oven.
inefficient. Yeah, it made it very hot there. So
We
now
got
we
a
have
more
to get
efficient
sweatshirts.
oven and it
Yeah.
doesn't leak
It's
as
not
much
so
heat.
hot.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you. Any other questions or discussion?
Who's seconding it, please?
Liz Boucher.
Thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion passes. Before we move on from personnel, my memory, Superintendent, is in June meetings in the past, we have given you the authority to hire teachers and then bring them for ratification after the fact over the summer months so that we don't lose teaching candidates.
Right.
Does anyone know what that motion was last year? Look it up for us.
I think you just,
Was it a motion or do we just?
you moved it.
We moved and voted to authorize her
Yeah.
to hire as needed.
To allow me to make an offer, and you would confirm at the next meeting.
Okay, well, I will make that motion then.
Thank you.
Second?
Bring that up.
Second by Ms. Robinson.
Thanks.
Questions, discussion?
Because I need to do my due diligence, what is the motion exactly?
To allow the superintendent to make offers to prospective teaching
Okay.
candidates and that they will be confirmed at the next board meeting for
Okay.
the months of July and August so that we don't lose teaching candidates.
Thank you.
So I had a great interview this afternoon with a math teacher, brand new, right out of college, but you know what? Very exciting, very energetic, and had just a great, but I just didn't have it ready for tonight, you know, so, but I don't want to lose her either. So, thank you, I appreciate that.
Could you include June so that we don't?
Oh,
Oh, yes,
Remainder of
June,
June.
July, and August.
Thank you.
Perfect.
Great. Any discussion, further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Next is other business and monthly enrollment reports. And just because Dr. Herbert is here, I'm gonna ask how many
Surprise.
kids we have graduating next week, and what percentage are not.
Come on, Tim, come on.
Come on down.
Jack will loan you his mic.
And sorry if you don't have the answers, you can get them back to us, but.
Sorry, I'll have to get exact numbers back to you, but the other day was 307. So we did have a smaller class this year. We do have a number also, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, Kathleen, you would have been the one signing about 40 Concord School District diplomas as well. So that's that's a pretty good number that's on top of the 307. So it's 307 from the students attending Concord High School plus the Concord School District diplomas.
Okay.
So roughly 350 students on Saturday, June 15th. But I can get those exact numbers
Great.
to the board.
Thank you.
It's a great, we do have the Concord diploma, and this is students who come back after leaving school, return, they're older, they're, sometimes 21 and older. There's family situations that being at work being at school during the day does not allow them to be there, and so they choose the adult diploma route. And I know that our president signs all of those diplomas, and this year I've seen a number of them, and just signed a stack of them. So I'm happy that they are coming back and doing whatever it takes to get that diploma.
That's great.
It's pretty awesome.
Okay, any further questions? Enrollment reports, sorry.
It's in front of you, page 67 gives you a kind of each school. You can see that, as we've been watching that elementary school, we lost 19 students in elementary now again, I use October 1st, try to use that as your focus point to June, and looking at its 19 students, but it's spread over, the 5 schools and 5 grades. At Runlet, we lost 16 students, and the high school, again, the number in October wasn't really accurate for whatever reasons. We still have in and outs between kids, the Deerfield kids and our kids. Some of the kids in the CRT were reported in our numbers, so I would use the 1272, but still, that's almost 30 students, so we're keeping an eye on that. Deerfield lost a couple of students. Again, the one place that we're seeing an increase in students is in our preschool program, increase of 17 students. Remember, that's through Child Find, and it's ages 3 and 4, so we have an obligation to provide for those students. But that's where we're seeing the increase. I've been watching the kindergarten enrollment, talking to the principals, and so right now it's light in numbers, but I think it's still early in terms of getting people to get the youngster registered for kindergarten. But we keep at it. We keep sending out notices and that kind of thing. So, class sizes, as I reviewed them, class sizes are ending the year, I think, very reasonable. Take a look. We always kind of keep an eye on that 5th grade group out at Beaver Meadow, but 22. I think that's certainly okay number. It falls within your range. And again, the numbers across the board seem reasonable. We'll have a better report when we come back in the fall. We'll have October is always a good month, especially at the high school. Remember, at the high school, they sign up for classes and then they decide when they come back, they may switch, they may take another class. So it's kind of a moving target, but we'll get you that information back in the fall. The numbers of homeschool students, you know how difficult it is to track. We get a letter, a request, and then we don't know. Whatever happens to them after that, they have no requirement to let us know that they're, sometimes we know if they come back to public school, but that's the only time. If they move out of town, we have no idea. It's kind of one of those areas that's hard to track. Charter schools we can, of course, especially because we have students there and we must provide for them. And the homeless, again, that varies time of year. all kinds of variables with our homeless kids. That number's been running about between 95 and 100. We've gone as high as 120, so actually it's down a little bit from last year at this time. I guess that's pretty much a quick eyeball of your.
Any questions?
I've got a question on Beaver Meadow. Just looking at the numbers, and I'm sure there's an explanation, but it looks like when you jump from 4th grade to 5th grade, we go from 66 students to 44. Where do those students go?
Maybe that many babies weren't born that, I mean.
Baby bubble, Brenda?
Yeah,
Well, but they were there in 4th grade.
Well, no, because that's
No.
this year's
It's
fourth
just a
grade.
snapshot.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
And this
So
year's
they're
5th grade.
You know,
I
those
see.
kids were-
No, that's the
Those kids
reasonable
were first
explanation.
graders the
Yep.
first year of COVID,
Yep.
and they may have gone somewhere else during.
Yeah,
Okay,
and they
yeah.
stayed,
No, that
you know,
makes
they
sense.
stayed somewhere. you
That's
know.
right.
So we don't know, a lot of them came back, but not all of them, they stayed in wherever they landed.
Okay.
That's the part of this part, it's so difficult, right? We struggled with that in the spring, didn't we, in terms of trying to figure out numbers? You do the best you can with it, and we use the data that we have from NESDEC. We get an annual report from NESDEC, as you know, and we also use the Davis report that you did, that 10-year projection, and, you know, they're not too far off.
And are you adding a third teacher to Beaver Meadow 5th grade next year? Yes? Kim's saying
Yes,
Okay.
yes,
Okay.
and that's coming from one of the lower grades that have small numbers.
Smaller numbers. Okay,
Yeah.
great. Thank you.
Any other questions? All right. Thank you. Proposed calendar of meetings, which we went over a lot of it, but there's still more fun to be had in June and July.
Yes, there is. You have a very busy month, so just, you know, I know it's a lot, but this week, obviously tonight's all set. I mentioned the 6th for the building committee and your board meeting together, which is really nice. The joint city and school meeting is at 8 o'clock, not 8:30. Please change that to 8.
Can we make sure we change it on the public
Yeah,
calendar?
I will make sure that we're gonna send out a reminder to everyone too, so if we could do that. And the following week, now there's where one of your working groups, sustainability, will meet here at central office at the same time as the Wall of Fame at the high school. There are two people being nominated into the Wall of Fame. I'm not giving away any secrets. That'll be unveiled on that evening. I happen to know who did it. I know the principal. He told me who it was. But it's a great night. And I believe that there is family there, right? So that's even more special. Q&A we talked about. On the 12th, we do have another little conflict. We have policy and program working committee at the same time. But again, trying to get everything in, we felt we could do that.
And that's also Runlet's 8th grade move-up night graduation.
Right.
And I give a Molly B scholarship there, so I'm gonna be, you were at that last year.
Yeah, and I will be at the 8th grade
So that's also on the
celebration.
12th, so Kara, I apologize, I'm missing another one.
That's okay.
And I'll probably have Karen cover that with, we're gonna do the use of facilities plan.
Okay.
Okay.
So it'll essentially just be an introduction. You'll have an opportunity to participate in the facilities policy that's coming our way. Like, I definitely want your perspective, so.
It's gonna take some work too.
Yeah.
That's not an easy one. Matter of fact, most of them aren't coming up.
Can't wait.
Last day of school, I guess. Like it or not, it's on the 13th. And of course, high school graduation is at 10 o'clock. I think you know, if you're attending graduation and participating, you know the time to be there. So they get you in line and walk in with our students. So it's a great, great day.
So, Superintendent, even though we know that time, what would that time be exactly, just to remind everyone?
I'm looking at the principal back there. It's
9:30?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
This is what it was historically past time.
Yeah.
Just checking.
Yeah, thanks, Jim. I forgot what time. I was
Yeah.
gonna say 9:15, but 9:30 is good. I'll send a note out to remind you all, right? Following week, Executive Committee and Finance, again, the second Q&A on the 18th. But the 19th can be crossed out because we're going to the 20th for the building and the board meeting together. That, you can take a big X across the 19th because we're not meeting on the Wednesday, we're meeting on Thursday.
It's on Thursday.
Yeah.
She's just like, she's trying to highlight, that's the one
No, we
day
have
you're
ours
getting
is-
up.
no, ours is-
Trying to make it sound good.
I was trying to say.
Okay.
Ours is blank.
Oh, God.
Ours is-
Bridget's good.
Yeah, she's great.
I was like, you want me to
She's way
X out a
ahead of
blank
me.
day? Okay.
Yeah,
Spa
she's
day.
ahead of me, honest. I have it in mind, that's why.
Well, going for many
I know,
times.
right?
Bob, you're coming, right?
Anyway, and the only meeting on the
I'll be
5th week of the month is
We're doing the 19th spa
Instructional
day,
Committee
So you can come.
You're fully invited.
on the 26th. You get a night off on Monday, the 24th, just saying.
I'll also mark that with hearts.
And then July, you have a meeting on the 1st is your regular school board meeting, and on the 4th is 4th of July, Independence Day, so there'll, no meetings the rest of the week, so people can enjoy the holiday. We are holding on the 8th for a possible work session. Negotiations on the 10th, we'll keep you posted on that one, we may or may not need that one, but we plugged it in. A special board meeting again to discuss the middle school project, and followed with a continuation if needed on the 17th, so I kind of left those. 22nd, you have another special board meeting, superintendent's evaluation, which is you have to do.
And based on historic trends, save the 24th too.
I'll leave that up to you. I will be away that week, so go at it.
You'll also be away.
So, and then the last week in July, you have your executive committee meeting and a joint policy and communication, joint communication policy with instructional.
Sean knows the best.
Class sizes, right?
Class size.
Yes.
We love it. Okay.
So that will take some discussion too, and there's a lot of debate on that, and, but you know what you have, you can see what you have, you know what the policy is, I'll bring all that to you. And then we've been collecting what other towns and city, what their average class sizes are, so you have some perspective, okay?
Mr. Richards?
Just wanted to bring up that we asked Mr. Dunn to bring us some numbers for the Finance Committee, but there isn't a Finance Committee meeting in July, so we need to pick some time for a Finance Committee.
I thought we said
For transportation? I thought we said August.
For transportation. Well, I thought that we wanted it
Yeah.
earlier rather than later.
What? It can
You wanna put it
wait.
to August? Push it to August? Okay.
I thought Kathleen really wanted to meet on the 19th.
Friday night.
Yeah,
my favorite night.
Can I just, we had a brief conversation about vacations, which obviously we can't match each other's schedules, but I know that I plan to be away on the 1st of July, so I just wanted to
As I will be.
put it out there. We may have a quorum issue if everybody's going on vacay, so I just wanted to.
We did discuss this at one point. Can I get a show of hands who's available on the 1st? All right,
Cool.
you got a
Just you
quorum.
and me, sweet.
All right.
Ms. Hastings is in charge.
Congratulations. All of a sudden you're like, I'm out of town.
You'll get to use Thor's hammer.
Gavel.
Be the shortest monthly
Well,
meeting ever.
you know, your summer formal, regular monthly board meetings aren't as intense perhaps as some of the others.
You just,
Yeah?
And you have just officially jinxed the July 1st.
Lord knows.
Does that really happen?
Is there any other discussion or amendments on the calendar?
Thank you for the corrections.
You're welcome. We have time, about 15 more minutes left of our 30-minute public comment period, if anyone would like to make comments. Seeing none, we will close the second public comment period. Superintendent, do we need a non-public session?
Yes, we do.
And
For the purpose of personnel.
purpose personnel,
Yep.
any other issues? Mr.
Property and acquisition.
Property and acquisition, and we have a legal issue, I
Yes,
believe,
we
as
do.
well? Okay, so I will move that we go into non-public session under RSA 91A3 to discuss personnel issues, legal issues, and property acquisition. Seconded by
Ms. Campbell.
By Ms. Campbell. This is a roll call vote.
Ms. Boucher?
Yes.
Ms. Campbell?
Yes.
Mr. Cotton?
Yes.
Ms. Hastings?
Yes.
Ms. Higgins?
Yes.
Mr. Richards?
Yes.
Ms. Robinson?
Yes.
Ms. Walsh?
Yes.
And I am a yes.
Why don't we take a 2-minute,
Thank you.
5-minute break?
great.
Oh, that sounds lovely.
We were actually gonna get out of here.
Well, we're gonna get out of here.
Oh, that would have been